My friends, how are you? It is fantastic to see you for yet another video. And do you guys remember just a few days ago when Doug Ford caused Donald Trump to have an absolute temper tantrum, where Donald Trump went to Truth Social to say that he was ending all trade negotiations with Canada, and then eventually he settled down a little bit. Yeah, we got to deal with this toddler in America. We all got to coddle him until he feels better and he calms down a little bit. And when he calmed down, he settled on, I'm just going to add an additional 10% tariff to Canadian imports coming into America, Canadian products, right? And that was all pretty interesting. And the way that happened, for anybody that wasn't paying attention, but it is a viral thing right now, so I'm sure a lot of people were paying attention. But basically, I guess Doug Ford was behind an ad coming out of Canada that basically just used Ronald Reagan's own words about how tariffs are harmful to the American people. It was something along the lines of, when you impose tariffs, it appears to be patriotic because you are helping build up the American product, but in the long run, tariffs are harmful to the American people in the form of businesses closing, people losing jobs, things like that. Not verbatim what was said, but that is the basic premise of what is going on. And I've heard from a lot of Canadians, and I've learned a lot of, I've learned what I can. I would say a lot, but I don't know if that's true or not. But I've learned what I can about, Canadian government and things like that. And a lot of people have expressed that they definitely have some differences with Doug Ford. And since most of my viewers pretty well align with me politically in most cases, hey, if you don't like Doug Ford, I don't like Doug Ford either, all right? I got your back on this one. But in this particular case, I think it was kind of brilliant for a couple reasons. One, we're living in the end times, my friends. That's what it feels like sometimes. So when somebody can put out a commercial that makes the president of the United States have a complete fucking meltdown, that's at least amusing. We might as well all die laughing at what a goofball this asshole is, right? So for that reason, I find it to be kind of amusing. But also, I really think that ad was really the catalyst for the entire world just realizing exactly what is going on here. And I know a lot of the world was paying attention and maybe held out hope that Donald Trump has it in him to be a reasonable person, but I think this whole ad just really cemented, not only for Canada, but for the rest of the world, who Donald Trump is, and that the world just has to move on without him at this point. And unfortunately, that means without America, because in America, Donald Trump makes all the decisions. The spineless Republicans have given up their power to Donald Trump. They do whatever he says, and whatever Donald Trump puts on Truth Social apparently immediately becomes policy in this fucking country. So it was not only a signal to Canada that we need to do something different, or that they need to do something different and kind of move on and figure out new things, but I think it was a signal to the rest of the world also that is what's going on. Donald Trump with that was, I think, the last straw, that proves what an absolute lunatic he is. So for that reason, I think it was a really, really interesting thing. And I have been waiting the last few days kind of to see what Mark Carney has to say about this. I don't know if you guys have picked up on this from me, but I kind of respect and look up to and admire Mark Carney. And the reason is, in America, it's been a really long time since we've had any kind of like strong, thoughtful, intelligent leadership, right? And that's not a knock on Joe Biden. I think Joe Biden overall had a pretty successful presidency, but unfortunately age has caught up to him, right? That's a thing that happens, and I don't give him too much shit for it. It's just, it's been a while since we've seen that really strong, bold, like almost powerful kind of leadership. The last time we saw it, in my opinion, was Barack Obama, right? He was very intelligent, very direct to the point, and not fucking afraid of anything, and definitely not like Donald Trump in the sense that he was prone to temper tantrums. That's a new thing for all of us here in America that I don't think we're ever going to adjust to. But because Americans are so starved for intelligent and strong leadership, it's easy for us to look at a guy like Mark Carney and be like, hell yeah, that dude's a real fucking leader right there, right? At least for the Americans that don't have their heads all the way up their asses. But what I'm trying to get to is sort of Mark Carney's response. And I know we saw him talk about it a few days ago, where he was asked about Donald Trump's temper tantrum, and basically his response was that Canada can't really do anything about how Donald Trump reacts and what America wants to do with trade policies. And what I gathered from that was him saying Canada just needs to move on at this point. That's kind of really where we're at this point. And I obviously I tend to agree with that, unfortunately, because how can you make a deal with Donald Trump? You just fucking really can't do that. So I've been waiting to hear more from Mark Carney, like I said, and he was giving a speech recently. I don't know where it was, and I guess that doesn't really matter. You guys can definitely tell me, but I think what matters more is the contents of that speech, right? The things that he was talking about. And wherever it was that he was giving this speech, he was talking about how Canada has plans to, it was either double or quadruple, I don't remember which one he said, their exports basically to other countries around the world. Because we do know that Canada has just absolutely vast resources in the form of a lot of fucking things. The list is too big for me to even go through. And honestly, if you look at it, like the history between the United States and Canada, I believe that Canada has been such a valuable partner to America that we wouldn't be standing as the country, well, that we were before Donald Trump ransacked the fucking place, if it wasn't for the partnership and friendship with Canada that we've had for all of these years. There's been a good exchange of resources, even people, talent, things like that, companies working together across the borders. It is that partnership with Canada that has helped to strengthen America for all these years. And why me as a trucker can figure that out, but the President of the United States can't, is fucking beyond me. I don't know, my friends. I don't know how to help with that. But anyways, he was talking about that sort of thing with the exports coming out of Canada at a much higher rate than all the... Geez, I'm getting used to being back in the truck again, my friends. I was out for like a week, so pardon me if I stumble over my words on this one. This is like my fourth time trying to record this fucking video because I keep fucking it up. Anyways, he was talking about basically making new trade partners, having an economic plan for Canada to move forward. And I think this is very important because what we know is this was the only fucking leverage that Donald Trump had, and it's not the leverage that he thought it was, right? Donald Trump honestly thought he was going to come into the office of the presidency and bully the world with tariffs. And at first, I think it surprised everyone. Everybody was like, fuck, what do we do? A lot of Canadians from my comment section back then were pretty panicked, like, what is going on? And of course, the 51st state rhetoric. We never forget that. But the point is, when it came to, our already established system economically, a lot of people were like, holy shit, now what? What are we doing? And Donald Trump, I believe, felt very emboldened by that and thought he had this power to bully the entire world, right? And the interesting thing with bullies is if you can take away their ammunition, if you can take away this power that they think they have over you, you find that they fucking have nothing left. And that's the interesting part about what is going on. Because watching Mark Carney and the Canadian people, of course, have been very instrumental in it, and Canadian leadership, even Doug Ford in this case, all right? I hope you guys don't hate me too much for that, but I think it was brilliant. I really do. I'm a fan of this particular move. I know I already said that, but the point I'm trying to make is watching Mark Carney out there making all these deals, actual deals, all right? Actual deals. Let me sidetrack myself just real quick for another second, because I know the MAGA dorks will probably show up today and try to yell at me about what am I talking about? Donald Trump just made a new trade deal with China. And you remember the 90 deals in 90 days bullshit that didn't fucking happen, right? But Donald Trump, as a matter of fact, did not, as the time of recording this video, make a new trade deal with China. What they have is a framework, once again, for a trade deal with China, which is not an actual trade deal. It doesn't mean dick at this point. And part of the trade deal, or the framework for the trade deal, includes that China will buy soybeans from our soybean farmers. Why didn't we think of that before? Wait, we did. Back before Donald Trump fucked everything up, China was already buying the soybeans. So we have bankrupted the farmers in America to get right back to a framework of where we started. Isn't that fucking brilliant? But watching Mark Carney out there doing that work, I know I distracted myself a little bit, is a clear indicator that he has basically kicked the fucking legs out from any fucking threats that Donald Trump is making. And it was as simple as, if you don't want to work with us, then we will work with someone else. We are able to do that. We're smart enough to do that. We have the technology, the resources, all these things to do that. And Donald Trump, we straight up don't fucking need you anymore. And that's what I watched from that, is he basically has taken away all of Donald Trump's ammunition when it comes to these threats towards Canada, as Canada has now strengthened their relationships with many other countries all over the world. And if you don't like what I had to say, then you at least have to look at the facts of what is going on. America is showing job losses month over month over month at this point, and we are getting it from the most reliable source that we can. Remember, back when Donald Trump fired the head of the BLS because he didn't like their numbers, they were just reporting his failing economy, that's it. And now the government is shut down, so we can't even get these numbers. But going off of ADP, we can see that America is losing jobs month over month over month. Like I said, small businesses are closing, where people can't afford healthcare anymore. SNAP benefits are getting cut off. It's a hellscape we live in, my friends. It's a fucking nightmare. That's what we're dealing with right now. But then when you look at Canada's numbers by comparison, the only one that I'm aware of is the jobs added last month in Canada. And I do not know if Canada reports their jobs monthly or if it's quarterly thing or what have you. But last month they had shown 60,000 jobs added in Canada, while in America we're losing jobs at roughly that same fucking rate at this point. I don't remember exactly what it was. I feel like it was like 55,000 lost according to ADP, but I may be off on that number. It might have been 35. I don't fucking know, but it was losses nonetheless. And when you adjust that, which I've heard from a lot of my Canadian friends, considering the size of Canada's population, 60,000 jobs added is fucking massive. Absolutely fucking huge for a population of that size. And I believe that we are going to continue to see that grow. I'm still waiting for sort of that bombshell announcement. Don't worry, I'm not going to be that YouTuber that puts bombshell in the title. It annoys me too, trust me. But I'm not going to do that. But I'm waiting for like this announcement that is going to rock the fucking world. And that is if Canada and China come up with some sort of agreement having to do with BYD, the EVs, that is beneficial to Canada and China. That's going to rock the fucking world. I promise you that in the event that that happens. It's going to be insane. Absolutely insane to see that happen. But the point is, what I'm trying to get to is I was once again very impressed with Mark Carney. There was a really funny part that I wish I would have brought up earlier, but he was talking about sort of the trade deals that he's making with other countries and how Canada intends to increase their exports dramatically to other countries. And he used the word, he said something like it's enormous or huge. He was using one of those words that means big, and he did the accordion hands. He did it very subtly, right? He did the accordion hands while doing it, the Donald Trump accordion hands, and then he's like, we're not quite America level boasting right now, but we're getting there, right? And then he just kind of rolled on like right past it, and it was a direct shot at Donald Trump, which is the kind of balls we need going on in the world right now, is people that are not afraid of Donald Trump, people that are going to stand up and do the right thing. And that part was super fucking, it was funny, it was hilarious actually, to see that happen. But basically, I was very impressed with all of it. I miss leadership in America. I wish we still had some, but I was impressed with it. I think that he has a very clear vision of where he sees Canada going, and he's putting it into motion. And the whole premise of this video, I know I mentioned it earlier, but Canada and other countries now know where they stand when it comes to negotiating with Donald Trump. They know that it is impossible to negotiate with Donald Trump because at any given minute, he can throw another fucking temper tantrum. So Canada and other countries around the world have basically just decided to move on, not give a fuck about Donald Trump's threats, and like I said earlier, just take away all the ammunition that he thought that he had. And it is my opinion that as far as Canada is concerned, through Mark Carney's most recent actions, they have basically just ended Donald Trump's trade wars with them by going somewhere else. That's it. That's the whole fucking point of the video. Mark Carney has just ended Donald Trump's trade wars with Canada just by opening the markets to other countries, just by reaching out to other countries and working on a deal that would help both countries to prosper, by being a reasonable adult that understands economics. And to me, it's interesting. It's interesting. As an American, it's scary because we're going to get left behind. I have a feeling that's where we're going. But to see other countries just sort of untangle themselves from the United States and realize that they have to save themselves from this sinking ship is what I would expect them to do. Anyways, that's my 4th attempt at this video, so I hope I did it right. I got to get back to work. Love you guys. Bye now.